ages 21 to 40. Whether you're just beginning to get a sense of the adult service system or you're well-traveled and somewhat weary, the need for information remains constant. Chances are, your son or daughter is living in your family home. If not, he or she is still very much a part of your life, and it's important to stay informed about changes in programs and eligibility requirements. It goes without saying, but is worth reinforcing. Involve your son or daughter in all aspects of planning and decision-making about his or her life. Support your adult child in making choices, gaining independence, being involved in the local community, and continuing to develop goals that reflect his or her interests and strengths. The good news is that since turning 18, your son or daughter's income is used to determine financial eligibility for publicly funded health care, personal care, vision services, durable medical equipment, some dental care, and other income-based services such as supplemental security income and food stamps. If you have not already done so, contact the Social Security Administration to have your son or daughter apply for disability benefits. Call toll-free 1-800-772-1213 or visit online at www.ssa.gov. If your son or daughter is determined eligible for Supplemental Security Income called SSI, the door to Medicaid and other services will open. Look in your phone book for Department of Social and Health Services Community Services Office for information and assistance in applying for services. At this point in your journey through the service system, the Division of Developmental Disabilities is your son or daughter's main vehicle for reaching most destinations. This is where case management and a range of services are contracted or provided directly by the state. DDD administers an assessment to all new clients as well as current clients who are not receiving a paid DD service. The DDD Assessment gives a snapshot of your son or daughter's needs and determines his or her level of priority for services. Depending on the results of this assessment, your son or daughter may be referred to a more comprehensive evaluation, bringing them one step closer to receiving the services they need. At the very least, the majority of adults who apply for DDD services will be referred to the DDD Assessment, which determines eligibility for Medicaid Personal Care Services, also known as MPC. If your son or daughter is eligible for Medicaid services, they may be entitled to receive personal care hours determined by the assessment. MPC provides assistance with activities of daily living such as bathing, dressing, eating, meal preparation, and housework. MPC is generally provided in your own home by individual or agency providers who are contracted with the state. As a parent, you can also become an MPC provider for your adult child. Keep in mind that if your son's or daughter's situation and needs change, be sure to contact their DDD case manager for a reassessment to see if they have moved into a higher priority category. As you've likely discovered, very few services are offered as an entitlement. The majority of DDD programs are based on funding appropriated by our state legislature. As a result, thousands of people have been waiting years for DD services such as employment or day programs, family support, or supported living services provided outside the family home. Essentially, there are several streets, checkpoints, and detours through the adult service system. The best ticket to have is the one that gets your son or daughter on a Medicaid home and community-based services waiver. These are service packages that provide a range of in-home and out-of-home habilitation supports in your own community rather than a state institution. Access to these waivers, however, is limited based on available funding. Most people find themselves placed on waiting lists and/or limited services such as in-home Medicaid personal care. Whether the goal is for your son or daughter to live outside the family home or continue to receive support from you, it's a good idea to understand what Medicaid home and community-based services waivers offer and how to get on the waiting list if your adult child is not a waiver recipient. DDD has 4 waivers: Basic, Basic Plus, core and community protection. Individuals living with their parents are most likely placed on the Basic or Basic Plus waiver to receive employment and day services, personal care, therapies, and other basic services. Some individuals with intensive support needs may be placed on the core waiver and receive services within your family home, although most core waiver enrollees live outside the family home in a supported living setting. If your son or daughter is not currently on a waiver, ask to have him or her added to the Waiver Enrollment Database, which is the official waiting list for waivers. If he or she is already receiving services through a waiver, be sure all service needs are included in the individual support plan. Do not approve a plan that does not fully address your son's or daughter's needs. Other out-of-home services include adult family homes and state-run residential habilitation centers. Adult family homes provide basic Medicaid personal services plus room and board, but no habilitation or support to access the community. Residential habilitation centers are state-operated institutions founded before community alternatives were developed. If your son or daughter is living with you, one of your biggest concerns is probably finding something for them to do during the day. Perhaps they have physical care needs, require supervision, or simply need help finding a job. There are two ways to get support if this is the case. One is called family support, and the other is employment and day services. Family support provides limited respite, therapies, assistive technology, and modifications to your home or car. Family support services can be offered to individuals who are not on a waiver as well as to those who are, but there is a waiting list for non-waiver clients. Employment and day services provide long-term job development and support. Regardless of your son's or daughter's disability, the expectation in our state is that all working-age adults who receive DDD employment and day services will be employed or on a pathway to employment. While there are exceptions to this policy, the intent is to engage everyone in his or her community as an active, contributing member. Long-term employment and day services are typically offered through a Medicaid home and community-based waiver, but sometimes the legislature appropriates money for individuals who are not on a waiver. Be sure to ask your son's or daughter's case manager how your child can receive support to find and maintain employment. While your son or daughter is in high school, the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, known as DVR, may assist with initial job placement services. Visit www.dshs.wa.gov/DVR for more information.